It's said that the gap between rich and poor is wider in the UK than any other EU country, and it's getting wider. Do you see this as a problem? And if so, what do you believe are the best ways of tackling it?
Well, I certainly think that growing inequality is a major problem, and it's one of the things I'm most concerned about under this coalition government. What we've seen is a whole set of austerity measures, cuts that have hit the poorest hardest. These are people who had nothing to do with an international financial crisis, and yet they are the ones who are being forced to pay the highest price.
I think it's a problem because the bigger the gap, the more social cohesion is threatened. I think it's very important that we need to keep some sort of link between the highest earners and the lowest earners. I'm always a little bit baffled as to what is in the interest of the highest earners to see such poverty around them.
When it comes to inequality, I'm really proud that under Labour between 1997 and 2010, the bottom 20% got richer faster than the top 20%. But what did skew the graph was the fact that the top 1% and the bottom 1% kind of shot apart. But overall, in the middle, there was a levelling out, which was a success.
This country has always been much more keen on letting capitalism rip. And that's what we've got happening in this country. Capitalism has been, as it were, almost let off the leash since the 1980s in this country. And what we have now is a world in which the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
We've become actually the only country in the OECD, looking at their recent work, where inequality now is worse than it was at the turn of the century. This is incredibly distressing for people involved, and it's very profoundly bad for all of us, because what studies have shown is that where you have greater inequality, you also have poorer social outcomes, poorer health outcomes, more violence, more addiction, and all things that we think of as social ills.
And, most people who are high earners because they have a lot of people earning small amounts of money in their companies or wherever they have to get their money from. But we need to get back to a situation where, however much you recognise that you are part of the same society as those on the lowest earnings. And for me, it's a very, very important task that we have, because if the gap gets too big, then you create the potential for social revolution. I think we're a long way away from that at the moment, but it's a worry nonetheless.
And our policy for tackling it is to reprioritise our spending on ordinary people and the services they need, and to take the spending away from silly ideas, basically, things that are going wrong, wasted money. Let's put the money where it needs to go, with the people whose country this is.
I mean, if you look at what happened in the, 7-8 years since the banking crisis, rich people in this country have got richer. Okay, and where have they got richer from? Where's the money coming from? By and large, what you've had is a transfer of money from the bottom to the top.
We need to get away from these vast and unfair inequalities between the highest paid and lowest paid, both in society and in local organisations and companies as well.
I believe that the rich buying education and segregating their children from the rest of the 93% in this country sets up life chances and denial of life chances and social networks and circles that are very, very disparaging. They're about categorising people according to wealth, and that sets off their trajectory for the rest of their lives. So that, for me, is where I would want to start. I believe that children who eat, learn and play together grow up to build a society at ease with itself, and we're not a society at ease with ourselves.
There are people in our society who are missing out on all of the benefits of our 21st century Brighton and Hove. And these people who tend to be at the bottom 3 or 4, 5%.
In terms of what we could be doing, well, first of all, we should not be punishing the poor for a crisis that was none of their making. We should be cracking down on things like tax dodging and putting that money back into the economy. We should be introducing something like a Robin Hood tax, a tiny tax on financial speculation which could raise £20 billion in the UK alone. we should be ensuring that people on the highest incomes do pay more into the pot so that we can have a more equal society.
This has to be a democratic movement. It has to be the majority of the population of this country and worldwide waking up and saying, this is insane. The world we are living in, okay, isn't the only possibility. There is an alternative. I mean, we can put people on the moon. We can land satellites on comets, which are orbiting somewhere around about Neptune. The size of pins, cosmic terms. We can do that. We can make the lame walk.
Yes.
You telling me that we can't come up with a better way of ordering our world so that we meet the needs of the majority of the population? I don't believe it.
It's our country. The country should be run in favour of the people and their benefit, and that's what we need to do, and then we'll be solved. Unfortunately, other parties have taken it away from where it should be.
No, I think we've catered in the last 5 years too much to keeping happy those who are wealthy and those who are rich, cutting their taxes, giving them bonuses, allowing them to be treated as special, worshipping at the altar of celebrity and millionaire status. These are really unpleasant and structurally and socially damaging tendencies. I'm proud to be in a party that will address and promote issues of redistribution of wealth.
Because it's not just economic inequality we have in the city, it's inequality of access to education, great education, and it's also about access to health. People don't realise that in this city there is a 10-year life expectancy difference between people who are living in areas of affluence and areas of deprivation. Now, if you picture what that means, it means if you get on the bus at Palmyra Square, every single bus stop you stop at, your life expectancy goes down a year until you reach Boundary Road in Portslade.
What will happen is this juggernaut of free market capitalism will carry on rolling, and the rich will continue to get richer, as they are now, and the poor will continue to get poorer. And the only way you can tackle this is by abolishing this insane system. Capitalism has to